What is up, YouTube? It has been too long, and I apologize about that. You know, life happens. But hey, let's talk about this one. I got summons for jury duty a couple weeks back, which ever since I registered to vote back in 2016, this is my third jury summons. Comment below if you've ever been summons for jury. But like I said, this was the third time I've ever been summons for jury. First two times, you have to call the night before on a Sunday, and there's a recorded message telling you if you have to report the next day or not. First two times I got summoned, I didn't have to report. So this third time, a couple weeks back, called Sunday night, and they're like, yep, 8:30 in the morning, report Monday. Great. So I have to let my boss know that I won't be in work that day. So head downtown to the courthouse and find my way into the jury waiting room and check in, and there's like 80 people in there, packed. So sitting in there waiting, and the bailiff for the judge comes in once everybody was checked in and introduces herself and tells us all that we are all potential jurors for a murder trial. And you could collectively hear everybody's butts in there pucker up, like, oh, okay. So she tells us that they're going to take about 25 people up to the courtroom at a time, and they're going to start the selection process. Okay, so I was one of the first 25 taken upstairs and cram us into the courtroom. And as we walk into the courtroom, you know, this is new to me. I've never done anything like this, and knowing that it's a murder trial, we walk in the courtroom and the defendant is sitting there with his defense attorney, and there's two prosecutors, obviously the judge and everything. So they pack us in there, and the judge proceeds to tell us what he was charged with, and told us that this case might take up to a week. And that was kind of like the first condition, you know, in weeding out the jurors. And obviously they go through everybody, ask them if that's going to be a problem for anybody, and if there is, they had to give a reason why. I just remember this one guy was like, yeah, I got a vacation planned. I already have my flight booked, blah, blah, blah. We're leaving Wednesday morning. And the judge is like, okay, go ahead and step down and go talk to my bailiff. She's going to need to see proof, receipts, or whatever of your flight and all that stuff. And it's like, dang, all right, they ain't messing around. So once they, as they're removing potential jurors, they're bringing up the other 60 or so that were downstairs waiting. And so that was the first criteria. So once they weeded through everybody that could make it the actual week, that's when the defense attorney and the prosecutor were asking certain questions and everything like that. You know, some were broad questions, some were personal questions, but it was more or less, do you understand what guilty or innocent until proven guilty means, beyond reasonable doubt, all that stuff. And so going through that all day, like I said, we got down there about 8:30, about 2:30 in the afternoon that day, standing outside the courtroom, and there's probably, I don't know, 20, 25 of us, and the bailiff for the judge comes out again, and she starts reading names off, and she's like, I need these group of people to stand over here, this group needs to go over and talk to this other bailiff for other potential cases. And at that time, I'm like counting the people that are in my line by like twos, you know, 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm like, holy crap, I made the jury for this, which is just, it was blowing my mind at the point. So she turns around, she's like, all right, we're gonna go back to the courtroom. So in my head, I think, you know, it's, you know, almost 2:30. They're probably gonna sit down. The judge is gonna be like, all right, you know, you're the jurors for this case. We're gonna start tomorrow morning at 8:30. No. We sat down, and the judge is like, yep, you're all jurors for this case. Let's start with opening arguments. Holy crap, like, hit us right at once. So So about the case is over with. You know, obviously we already ruled on it, or decided. We had the verdict, and they actually did sentencing earlier this week, last week. This guy was charged with murdering his then girlfriend or ex, or however you would want to look at it, by strangling her with an extension cord. His defense was he found his girlfriend hanging from a ceiling fan by an extension cord. That's the long and short of it. Not really get into too much detail about it. If you want to hear more about it, let me know in the comments and I will tell you about it. But I just want to talk about my experience. And, you know, from the beginning of the trial, like, I turned 40 this week, and I knew jurors and the jury is very important to our judicial system and everything like that, but being actually a part of it gave me, you know, that insight, which was, cool's not the right word, especially for a murder trial. And but the judge from the beginning did tell us, you know, that us 14, the 12 jurors and the 2 alternates were the most important people in that courtroom every day, and how we were treated by everybody was pretty unique. The judge even said, you know, from the beginning that when he enters the courtroom, everybody stands for him, but we come in last and everybody stands for us, including him. You know, that was different. And every night when we were done, we were the last people to leave the courtroom. We were escorted out by 3 sheriff's deputies. All 14 of us and the deputies took the same elevator down to the bottom of the building, and we were escorted to the parking lot by 6 sheriff's deputies, and that was every day. And it was like, dang. And the judge even said, you know, later on in the week, there's potential for more people to be sitting in on the trial in the galley, and possibly media towards the end of the week when the case is getting closer to being finished. And so that was eye-opening. And it was pretty cool. The judge came in, I think it was the third day, that third morning, and he apologized that he should have done it, you know, Tuesday morning, but he introduced himself, asked if we had any questions for him, told us about himself, and at the end of it, this will always stick with me. He was just, the way he said it was well said. He was like, I hope this experience is meaningful for you. I would say it was very meaningful to see how all that works. But kind of getting back into the case, like, a lot of the stuff that we saw, or I saw, you know, like the coroner's report, all of the pictures of the autopsy that they had to show us, I mean, I'll never forget that stuff. And like we heard all the 911 calls, we saw all the body cam footage of the officers that responded, you know, right after it happened, and it was pretty heavy. And that was the thing, like, you know, obviously I didn't tell my wife about the case per se every night when I got home, but every night I got home, I was just mentally drained, because you're taking in so much information, or trying to process so much information. I mean, like, again, I'm almost 40. I've never taken that much notes in my life. You know, to be fair to everybody, you know, you're paying attention. And like I was telling her, it's just heavy. Heavy was the right word to describe that experience. And every night driving home from the courthouse, like, I'd be in my truck with no radio on, you know, just trying to decompress, or, you know, trying to take all that information in, trying to comprehend it all. And it definitely, even that was 2 weeks ago, I still think about it, you know, everything I saw and all of that. But the trial lasted 4 days, Monday through Thursday, and I think Thursday around 11:30 in the morning. They were done with closing arguments, and us as a jury deliberated for 5.5 hours. And that was the first time, obviously, that we as a group were able to talk about it. And that was, again, cool's not the good word to use, but the experience of that was unique too. You know, having 11 other different people talk about something. I mean, it was a good group of jurors. It was very diverse. You know, we had a handful of older people, men and women. You know, everybody had a different background, you know, different parts of their life. And just talking through it. It was nice too, because in the beginning, when everybody went around the room and kind of told their thoughts on the case, and we all had the same thoughts, but we did have one gentleman, and it was nice that he did it, because I was thinking about doing it. He was just like, do I think what they gave to us, do I think he did all the things he's accused of? Yes, but I don't think the state did a great job showing us everything. And to be fair to everybody, somebody should play devil's advocate. So we had to piece a lot together to came to the conclusion that we did. But it was, again, what the judge said, it was meaningful. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you've ever experienced anything like that. And let me know again if you want to hear more details about it. I'd be happy to talk about it in another video. Again, like I said, it was an experience. But one thing that was funny, after the case was over, the judge did say that we would be able to talk to him about the case, the prosecutors, and we actually got to talk to the lead detective on the case. And us as a group, after it was all said and done, they came back in the jury room after it was over with and asked if we had any questions. One of the jurors were like, well, since we just served on a murder trial, does this mean we get off the hook for potential more jury duty here for like a year or two? And the judge started laughing, and one of his bailiffs chimed in, and she was just like, nope, it's random selection every September. And we're like, oh, come on. And come to find out, we didn't know this. We thought that they selected people for jury duty going off voting records, registered voters. That's not the case in Ohio anymore. That's how it used to be. Now they go off of registered voters and driver's license. Okay, that's nice to know. Also, we're like, okay, so if we get selected again, would that us going through this experience possibly get us out of doing jury duty? And the judge is like, well, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It might get you off because you've done it before, but you're showing the prosecutor and a potential defense attorney that you made for a good juror. You were selected for a murder trial. So there's that. But again, in the comments, let me know what you think. If you could subscribe to the channel, it'd be great. I'll have more content coming. I know it's been a while, you know, life, jury duty, kids, all that. But you know, it's fall right now, so I don't know how many more weeks of good riding we'll have, but definitely got some plans for the winter for the Harley, and depending on if I can save my pennies, I wouldn't mind getting another motorcycle or two, which will be way different than what I'm sitting on right now. But those are just thoughts. But again, if you could like this video and subscribe, I appreciate it. Later.